Hi everybody, it's Brian here. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. So in today's episode, I'm going to be answering a question that was posed to me by one of the followers here on this YouTube channel, where the person effectively asked how to go about finding niches in order to create designs for. Clearly this person is obviously a new seller in the print-on-demand business, and that's absolutely wonderful. To this person, I say welcome to the business, wish you a lot of success. And in today's episodes, we're going to be looking at ways to go about finding niches that you could design for and ways to decrease the amount of competition that your designs will have to contend with. So it's a jam-packed episode. Stay tuned. Now, before we continue with today's episode, the fact that you're here means that you're interested in all things pertaining to print on demand. And for that, welcome to this episode. Indeed, welcome to this channel. I want to thank you sincerely and genuinely for taking time out of your busy day to sit down and watch this episode. I truly hope that the information, the tips, and advice that I share indeed on this episode and throughout my channel provides you with a lot of value to help take your business up to the next level. So if you're new to this channel, please do hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to click the bell notification icon and give this video a like too as well. I publish videos every Wednesday and Saturday, and the goal of this channel is to help you reach a higher degree of success with your print-on-demand business. So now with that said, let's hop on over to my computer screen so that we can get going with today's episode. Okay, so welcome back to my computer here. Now, before we actually dig deep into how to go about finding a niche and designing for it, there are a couple of things you definitely want to keep in mind. And clearly the first thing is that when you are choosing a niche, you want to make sure that you are creating quality designs in a niche with a passionate fan base that is going to last all year long. So in other words, ideally, when you're creating designs for, you want to make sure that you're going for an evergreen niche as opposed to a trending niche. Now, the difference between a trending niche and an evergreen niche, well, effectively, a trending niche is basically something which is, in the public eye at the moment. It lasts a few days, a few weeks, or maybe a couple months, and then basically just disappears into the abyss. Whereas an evergreen niche is something that keeps on selling throughout the course of the year, 2 years, 5 years, and so on and so forth. And then you might ask, well, why evergreen? Well, the evergreen tree keeps its needles green all year long. So if you transpose that to the concept of an evergreen niche, these particular niches are not dependent on any kind of trends and are sellable all year long with little chance of expiring. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look into selecting a profitable evergreen niche and how to delve deeper into it to create an environment for higher potential sales with lower competition. Now, before we continue, at the end of this video, I have a bonus for everyone who's watching this video. So please make sure that you stick and watch right through to the end so that you'll know a little bit more about what this bonus is all going to be about. Okay, so you're basically new to the print-on-demand business and you want to decide what niche to start off with. Well, basically, I'm going to share with you 5 potential niches that you could consider as your start-off points for your print-on-demand business. And the reason why I chose these because, again, they are evergreen niches. And when you niche down, and I'll explain a little bit more about that later on, you're going to find yourself in a good start-off position to create quality designs with low competition results. So the first niche that we're going to be talking about is basically your location. Now, you might ask yourself, my location, well, why would I start with that? Well, effectively, when you think about it, there's probably no better expert for a location on this planet than the actual residents of the location itself, be it a country, a city, a town, a village, a little hamlet for all that matters, When you are actually thinking about starting off, you might want to try and stop and think, okay, the city or town or village that I live in, what's unique about it? What is there that I can actually utilize for a design that could actually be appealing to potential customers to want to buy? Now, you might ask yourself, well, why would people want to buy something pertaining to the city or village where I live in? Well, there are a couple of reasons. One, first and foremost, perhaps maybe somebody is very passionate about the location where you live. Again, potential customers could be those who are actually living in the location on this planet where you live. And if they actually shop on Redbubble too, they could actually search for the location where you happen to be living in, and your design would come up. And if it really resonates with them, well, you have a potential customer right there and then. Another reason why people might consider buying designs pertaining to locations is because perhaps maybe they would have visited your location on a holiday, or maybe perhaps a working holiday, or family vacation, what have you. But if it really resonated with them and they really would like to have a keepsake of their time spent in the location where you are living and that you've designed for, well, again, you have another potential customer right there and then. So there's a lot of benefit in terms of starting off with a location for your initial niche designs for your shop. Because again, you're going to know that place inside and out. Now, if you don't want to do the location where you live in, or maybe you feel you've expired all the possible designs that you could come up with for the location, well, then you can actually branch off into other locations. And that's very simple to do. And basically, we can use Google to actually help us out. So if we go into Google over here and we type in, let's just tackle the United States for the moment. You could do this with any country that you want in the world. But obviously, since customers in the United States are really big shoppers online, let's tackle that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Google and we can type cities in the United States. So if you're really unfamiliar with the geography of the United States, well, here's a great way of trying to find out what it is that you can design for. So if we just click on this, okay, and as you can see here, we've got Wikipedia, lists of United States cities by population. So if we just open that up, okay, and we just start scrolling down, there's tons of information that you could actually grab from this particular website and actually utilize it for your design purposes. Now, you can say you've got New York, which is in the state of New York. Okay, and during the 2020 census, there was over 8 million people living in the United States. Now, just imagine, even if 1% of these people shopped on the print on demand platform that you are selling on and came across your design, well, the potential for sales could be huge. And not only that, you could actually scale whatever location design that you have to basically encompass any and all of these particular cities listed here on this particular website. So as you can see, there are tons of them. So you could actually be designing till the cows jump over the moon and still probably not be able to get through all of them. But it is a starting point that you could actually shoot for. Now, if you don't want to go that broad in terms of cities within the United States, well, then you could actually refine your search and maybe say, let's check out cities in a particular state. So let's change the United States to Florida. Okay, so if we bring that up, all right, and we've got floridademographics.com. We just click on that and open it in a new tab. Well, now you're going to see we've got all the various cities within Florida that you could actually design for. So you've got Jacksonville here, has over 949,000 people living in it. You've got Miami, Tampa, Orlando, and so on and so forth. And if you then want to actually check the viability of these particular cities on the platform, well, basically, it's just a simple matter of going onto Redbubble and actually typing in the city that you want to design for. So if we're going to choose Jacksonville, okay, and we're searching on Redbubble, Jacksonville brought in a result of 8,623 results at the time of publishing. Now, again, for me, this is still quite a high number. I always like to try and shoot for particular keywords on Redbubble that brings a result page of 1,000 or less. But then this is where cross-stitching could also come into play, and I'll explain that a little bit later on in this episode. So you could just minimize both windows next to each other and literally go through the list over here and type them in and see what kind of results. So let's choose maybe a smaller city in Florida, maybe a little bit more obscure. Let's check this one, Ocala. So we're going to type that, Ocala, and see what kind of results we get on Redbubble. Okay, now there you go. Ocala has 711 results. And that's just basically a question of remaximizing your window and just seeing what kind of designs other people have put up based on this city in Florida. And then you could basically use this as inspiration to try and create your own unique designs. Don't copy anybody's designs. If you saw my last episode where another seller stole one of my designs, you definitely don't want to put yourself in that situation. You know, you are a creative person in your own right with a little bit of patience, a little bit of dedication. There's no reason in my mind why you cannot either A, come up with a unique design of your own, or if you feel that you need a little bit of help, then you could always jump onto sites like Fiverr or Upwork and hire somebody to do it for you. But create something that is going to be unique. See what's out here and see what you can do to improve upon it. And you know, with 711 results, there's plenty of room for you to be able to tap into and actually make a good profit for if somebody is actually looking for Ocala. And again, you could do this with any and all of the cities in Florida. And then if you've expired, then you could jump to Nevada, you could jump to California, Michigan, any and all the states in the United States. And if and when you expire those, then you could just move your attention further north to Canada and actually find all of the various cities within the individual provinces. You could do that with Mexico, with Great Britain, Spain, France, Australia, New Zealand. There's just so much potential with location that you could actually, again, be designing until the cows come home and still probably never find yourself in a position to run out of niche ideas, or rather niche design ideas. Okay, so after location, you could actually even think about occupations. Now, occupations is a wonderful niche to actually design for as well, because again, like with locations, there are a ton of occupations that you could actually design for. Well, if you're uncertain about how to do that, we can just jump back onto Google again and just type in list of occupations. And then again, you can actually dive into any of these websites over here. So English vocabulary list of occupations. So we click on that. Okay, so as you can see here, we have a number of occupations listed with the pertinent clip arts to give you a better idea of what it is they're referring to, particularly if English is not your first language of use. Okay, and again, you can actually go through these and actually start creating designs for them. You can go into Redbubble and you can actually see what kind of results would come up. So if we had to go back to Redbubble and let's just choose painter as an occupation. As you can see here, we have 79,781 results. That's a huge number to design for. But again, it's not the end of the world because we can actually utilize the location and the occupation in order to cross niche to help bring those result numbers down. So this is what I was talking to you a little bit earlier in the episode. Sometimes it's not just a question of finding either a location or an occupation or any of the other three different types of niches that I'm going to be explaining to you, but it's also a question of cross-niching them in order to see what kind of potential results Redbubble will bring for you in order to see how you can bring that competition down to design for in order for your designs to stand a better chance of ranking higher, being seen, and hopefully, if they're good enough, land those potential customers to click the add to cart button. So let's just take painter and a location. So we were looking at Florida in terms of Ocala. So let's see what would happen if we had to choose Ocala painter. Okay, in this particular case, we don't have any matches. But again, that's not the end of the world because you can take this from one of two ways. You can either say, oh, okay, here's a great potential for me to actually dominate a potential keyword. And you can start creating a bunch of designs pertaining to Ocala Painter or painters in Ocala and actually start filling up this page on the marketplace with your design so that if and when it should ever take on and other people see that, hey, ooh, there's some designs for this particular keyword, let me create my own. Well, you are always going to be at the top of the search because effectively you would have been the first one to get in on that gate. On the flip side, you could say, well, at this stage of the game, maybe perhaps because I'm still relatively new to this, I want to gain a little bit more experience. I want to get my feet wet more into the print-on-demand business. Let me just shelve that for the time being and try to find something, another kind of keyword, another niche where there's already some competition in it so that I know that people are already actually looking for those particular designs. And whichever way you decide to select, that's absolutely fine. There's no right or wrong way of going about this. Every single person is going to tackle their design choosing of their niches in a way that's unique to them. And what might work for you will not work for me, and what might work for me will not work for you. And again, that's absolutely okay. What's important is that you remain consistent, you do the research, and you give and produce a quality design for customers to be able to buy. Okay, let's go on to the third niche, and the third niche is going to be family. Now, family is a real interesting one because obviously, when we're considering family, we've got mother, father, brother, sister, uncle, and grandma, grandfather, and even with those, there are other ways that you can actually state those particular titles. What do I mean? Well, have you ever thought about going onto Google for a moment and you could type in, for example, other ways of saying grandfather. So Google comes back to us with an answer. And as you can see here, we've got granddad, grandpa, grandpop, gramps, granddaddy, abuelo, nono, which is obviously Italian. So let's just go in and say, okay, what is another word for grandfather? Let's just click on that, see what comes up. And we're just going to accept all that. Okay, and you can see we've got a few keywords over here in terms of other ways of saying grandfather. And again, like we did with the others, we can just basically bring this window down and we'll bring up Redbubble, do the same thing again so that we can have them side by side. And then it's just a question of typing these keywords here into the search on Redbubble in order to see what comes up. Now, let's try grandpappy. So grandpappy sounds something out of Popeye. All right, so we're just going to click on that. And there you can see we've got 505 results for the keyword grandpappy. And then it's just a question of seeing what kind of designs that have been actually produced, designed, and uploaded. And that way you can actually gain inspiration and actually try to say, okay, can I improve upon that? What can I do to put my own personal tweak on it so that I can actually contribute that to the marketplace for customers to potentially consider and buy? And as you can see here, there's a lot of nice designs over here, which is absolutely wonderful because there's competition. And the fact that there's competition here means that there's a demand for it. People are searching for it. And when people are searching for it, it's a good bet that people will be visiting these print-on-demand platforms in order to search designs, particularly if a person has a grandfather who either maybe around Father's Day or perhaps maybe it's going to be the birthday of the grandfather and they want to get something which is a little bit more unique than just saying, my great grandfather or my wonderful grandfather. Perhaps maybe they want to actually, put a different twist on the word grandfather. Anyways, I think you get the gist of the matter. You can do that with uncle, with aunt, with grandmother, brother and sister. I mean, the world is your oyster with this. All you have to do is just think outside of the box, come up with these particular ideas, see how they work on Redbubble in terms of the results that come back, and get to designing. Okay, so the fourth niche that I want to obviously share with you pertains to sports. Now be careful over here, all right? Sports, we are not talking about sports teams or sports personalities. You cannot design with the name of a sports team or the name of a sports personality or their image because those will be trademarked and you can actually get yourself into a whole heap of trouble if they are to find out about it and you get a strike against your account. There's a good bet that you'll either be suspended or banned from these platforms. So don't go that route. There's so much more that you could be designing for. Stay away from, team names and sports personalities. It just doesn't pay. On the flip side, there's nothing stopping you from designing for keywords like basketball, baseball, hockey, wrestling, ice skating. I mean, there's just so many different types of sports activities out there that you can actually design again until the cows come home. So again, just like we did with the others, you can go onto Google. Instead of cities and Floridas, we can just type in types of sports. Okay, and as you can see here, Google actually even gives you some suggestions too as well. And sometimes you want to give some attention to this window over here too as well, because sometimes a real cool keyword might pop in which could really get the creative juices flowing inside your brain and actually be a real superstar for a design. But in this particular case, we're going to type in type of sports and we hit enter. Well, here we go. We've already got kayaking, bobsleighing, canoeing, skiing. If I had to click on this link over here to open it, this particular website is going to be listing a long list of potential sport activities that we could consider for our design making process. Okay, so as you can see here, it's quite an extensive list. And again, now going back to what I said earlier on, you could then cross niche the sports activities with the locations. Why not? You could try Florida dodgeball or Georgia handball or Toronto ice hockey, something along the lines. I think you get the idea of this. So you can actually cross niche your locations with these sports activities, and you can actually even niche even deeper by actually using cities and locations within states or provinces or countries of themselves that could actually resonate with those particular residents of those areas. And probably it's a good bet that if you have to do that, you're going to find yourself with results that are going to be very, very low and will actually allow you to rank higher in the marketplace. So when these customers actually come to Redbubble, TeePublic, or what have you, and search their keywords for those particular designs, you're going to show up higher in the marketplace search. Okay, so the final evergreen niche that I want to obviously bring to your attention pertains to hobbies. Now, hobbies again is a wonderful niche to design for because there's just so many angles that you can actually take in order to design for 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, 100 different types of hobbies. Basically, any kind of hobby that actually exists out there. And here we are back on Google, and I'm actually doing this on purpose. I hate to sound repetitive, but for those of you who are really new to this game, you might be feeling overwhelmed in terms of how do I go about designing? What am I going to design for? You've got probably the best tool either on your desktop or in your hand vis-a-vis your mobile phone, your cell phone. It's Google. And just basically key in whatever question, whatever statement you want to put in. And obviously Google will come back with suggestions that could actually help you to come up with ideas for your designs. So again, what we're going to do is we're just going to type in list of hobbies. Okay, and as you can see here, list of hobbies and interests, list of hobbies for women, for men. Again, this is another way that you could actually niche down, and instead of, say, tackling hobbies pertaining to everybody and everyone under the sun, you could say, hey, I want to design a t-shirt for women where the hobby really resonates just with that particular demographic. And then you might say, well, after that, I'll actually focus on the hobbies just for men. Okay, so you can see how you can actually branch out and actually focus onto a niche and then dig deeper into a sub niche. And if you want to go even deeper, you could say list of hobbies for women. Okay, let's just tackle that. So we're going to do a list of hobbies for women. Okay, and you could say scrapbooking. Okay, this is a real interesting hobby that many women the world over enjoy doing. Okay, you could actually type in, for example, scrapbooking in Georgia, or scrapbooking in Wisconsin, or scrapbooking Las Vegas, and go back to Redbubble and see what kind of results come up with. So let's do that so that I can show you. So let's do that and see what kind of results we get. So we're going to do scrapbooking. So let's see what kind of results we get with scrapbooking. Okay, we have 11,148 results at the time of publishing this particular episode. Now, let's actually add a location. Okay, I'm thinking about Toronto off the top of my head, so let's just type in Toronto, scrapbooking Toronto. Okay, we've got 3 results. Okay, so not a huge result, but again, you could actually start designing for it and actually building up this particular keyword with your own results. So again, without trying to sound repetitive, it's just a question of taking some time, grabbing a few niches, delving down deeper to it, doing a bit of research, and actually seeing what kind of results come back on Redbubble or TeePublic or whatever print-on-demand platform you enjoy using. And then when you think you've got a winner, when you think that the balance between the number of listings that are being presented to you compared to the quality of the designs that are already up there, and remember, quality is subjective. For you, it might really look great. For me, it might be a piece of CRAP. But whatever the case is, if you feel comfortable in terms of creating a design for a keyword that you've researched, that's where you start, that's where you double down, and that's where you start designing quality designs and start pumping up your artist portfolio so that customers will start seeing what it is that you are designing. And as your portfolio grows, so too will the exposure of your designs And hopefully, again, if your designs are good enough, so too will the amount of sales that will come in. So there you have it, everybody. As you can see, it's really not that difficult to go about finding a niche that you can start off with in order to create designs for. All it takes is time, patience, and dedication to really focus your concentration on what niche that you are going to design for, and really and truthfully how deep you can go into that niche in order to ensure that when you upload it onto platforms like Redbubble, TeePublic, or what have you, well, the amount of competition that you're going to have to contend with is not going to be that high. Obviously, you always want to shoot for around results of 1,000 or less. If it's maybe, a couple hundred over 1,000, that's considered my amber list. Then it's up to you to make a conscious decision whether or not you want to design for that particular keyword or not. Totally up to you. The great thing about this is that the only thing that it's cost you is your time. And as you actually start developing an affinity for this and you gain an experience, you will actually be more fluent and a lot more streamlined in the creation of your designs for particular niches, and indeed in terms of how you go about finding niches, so that your portfolio will grow and grow over time. Okay, so now it's time to let you know about the special bonus gift. In the description below, I'm going to leave a link to a spreadsheet that I created specifically just for you in order to help you with your niche research. Basically, it's going to be an extensive list of various cities, countries, occupations, sports activities, and hobbies. Well, effectively, everything that I spoke about in today's episode to help save you time from having to have to go into the internet and searching for it yourselves. So all you need to do is click on the link in the description below and I will grant you access at no extra charge. It's my gift to you as a way of thanks for being part of this community. And if you haven't yet subscribed, don't forget to subscribe and join the community. I do enjoy giving out these kinds of bonus gifts every now and then. And this one I'm certain will definitely help save you a lot of time and keep you on track for doing what you love to doing. And that is creating designs to upload to make potential sales. So I truly hope you found value in this episode, but for today, that's all I've got. And as always, be safe, be well, be creative. Bye for now.